My name is Natalie Prez, and I have an interview with the main frontman of the band Red Jumpsuit Apparatus on July 9th, 2012. As you just mentioned, you are currently on break, and then you're going to be hitting the road sometime soon. Hello. Have you noticed the economy affecting your tour sales and merch sales at all?
I wouldn't say too badly. It definitely, I would say about a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, we noticed a pretty big change. Especially just with the gas being as high as it is, it's a lot more expensive to tour.
Yeah.
Bands always, usually, if you don't have a label, then you're paying for all the gas. So I feel like the gas, more than anything, and it was a little worse about a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I think things have really picked up for us recently.
Well, that's good.
Definitely.
What are the largest and smallest crowds that you've played in front of?
Let's see. The first time we ever played Nashville, I think there was 5 people in the crowd, so that was pretty small. Our CD wasn't even out yet, and it was just kind of one of those things where we were just branching out and moving into new areas. So that would probably be the smallest, and the biggest would be probably we did a show in Japan called Punk Spring in 2006, and that was about 22,000 people sold out, so that was a pretty huge show.
Awesome. What band did you have the best time touring with?
That's a good question, actually. We have a lot of friends that we've made on the road, and it's hard to really narrow it down, but probably for me, it'd be a tie between 2 bands, both of which I was a big fan of before, so just to tour with them and watch them play for free every night was already just awesome. So that would be 36 to Mars. We toured with them for a couple of weeks, and that was just amazing. Jared's actually a really nice guy, and so is Shannon, and also the Starting Line, which was those 2 tours we did back-to-back. So for 2 months there, we were pretty much just having a blast every day.
Sounds pretty good. What's the best prank you've played on bandmates or other bands when you are on tour?
Well, we have something recently that we've been doing called Balloon Justice, and if anybody's late for band call or doesn't do something that they're supposed to do or makes a mistake live, basically we all kind of pick a time and we hide and we fill up water balloons, and then we smash them with as many water balloons as we can as soon as they're not expecting it. And we call it Balloon Justice. So that one's pretty fun.
Sounds like it.
So if you're the recipient of Balloon Justice, you know you did something wrong.
You should do that to the audience. That'd be funny.
Well, maybe, but they didn't do anything wrong, so then it wouldn't be Balloon Justice. It would just be Balloon.
Do you remember the first show your band ever played?
I do. It was at a place called the Art Bar, ARTBAR, in Jacksonville, Florida. And it was actually kind of crazy because it was sold out. We sold out our very first show. And a lot of my family and friends from my previous band, Dishonest, which is Dishonest, were there. So we had a lot of people there that we just had been following me through my musical career before the Red Jumpsuit did. And it was just a really good, fun show. And unfortunately, that bar closed down about a year after that. But that was kind of a cool little hip place to play for a little while here in Jacksonville.
Cool. Now let's talk about your latest release. How would you say that it differs from your previous one?
It's the same guy writing the songs, me. I've always been the singer, the writer, so not much has changed on that end. But for one thing, we have added, I'd say the biggest difference is there's a little bit more of a digital element. There's a lot of cool just drum programming and 808 sequences and a lot of different ambient kind of keyboards and, just a lot of electronics that we actually added in. Before, our last 2 records were pretty much just 2 guitars, bass, and drums, and a little bit of strings here and there on the softer songs. So on this album, we took a little bit more of a digital approach, which a lot of people like. I mean, it's not on every song, but there's a few songs that you can hear it a lot, and I would say that's probably the biggest difference.
Cool. And you worked with producer John Fieldman. What was that experience like?
That was amazing for me on a lot of different levels. I'm a big fan of his. Just personally, I mean, when I was in high school, Goldfinger was a really, really influential band to not only me, but all my friends. You know, I grew up listening to like bands like Goldfinger, NoFX, Lagwagon, MXPX, Strung Out, and, you know, they were all really just crushing it on the punk stage at that time. So you can hear a lot of influences in the early Red Jumpsuit stuff from those bands, including Goldfinger. So just to work with somebody that I actually have bought CDs from already, like years before, was really cool. And also, he's a singer. A lot of producers don't sing. So for me, I felt like the vocals went really smooth and really easily because he was able to sing parts back to me and I was able to sing to him. And instead of having a keyboard or somebody else translate, it was just a very copacetic relationship where we were able to, you know, just bounce ideas right off of each other.
Yeah, yeah. What are your songs about, and what specific themes do they cover?
That's kind of an impossible question to answer. Every song is different, and every song has its own theme, and every song has its own storyline. So you'd have to break it down for me to really be able to explain that.
Well, that's a pretty good little summary. Everything's different.
Everything's different. I don't write in generalizations. I'm very specific. There's always an exact story and and they're all based off real life experiences that I've gone through or people that I know have gone through. So that's just how we do it.
All right. Speaking of real life experiences and stuff, I'm sure you're aware, as everyone else is, about the bullying rate that's been up lately this year. What do you have to say to people out there who may have been bullied or picked on or deal with, you know, anxiety or depression or what have you? What advice would you give to those people who are dealing with that pain right now?
I would definitely tell them to listen to a track on our new record called Don't Lose Hope, which is almost self-explanatory in the title. And that song is talking about dealing with, you know, everybody has their own insecurities. I don't think I've ever met anybody who truthfully, honestly can say there are certain things about themselves that they don't like. So I think the biggest battle is realizing that imperfection is what makes people unique and embracing that and focusing on the positive and always knowing that, you know, that no matter what happens today, tomorrow's a new day. And things could change in multiple different ways. So I would, you know, tell them to specifically read the lyrics for that song and to listen to it, and hopefully that would help them. And that, you know, there's a lot of people out there that have their backs online and all over the world. So just try to get through it the best you can, and, you know, don't be silent about it. I think a lot of times people let the bullying factor kind of build up, so it gets to the point to where they think they can't take it anymore, and they have thoughts of suicide and you know, of cutting and all these other things that come along with those self-esteem. So try not to let it get to that point is what I would say, and to, you know, not be afraid to share your feelings with your friends and your family because they care about you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, back to your band. Next year, you guys will have been a band for 10 years. Do you guys plan on celebrating?
You know, you're the first person to ever mention that, and that's pretty cool. I have been doing this a very long time, and I have a lot of my friends that have come and gone and all these things. And for me, it's definitely a very special thing because it's gone by so fast. You know, everybody says this all the time, but pretty much after you graduate high school, life is a blur. You know, I remember every year thinking, oh, I can't believe I have another 3 years to graduate, or I can't believe I have another 2 years to graduate, it's never going to happen. And then here I am now, 29 years old, I'm almost 30, and I've been doing Red Jumpsuit for almost 10 years now, so it just seems unbelievable to me that it's been that long, but it has. So I do think we will celebrate. I do think we'll have a couple of unique little things we're going to do for our fans as well that have stuck with us the whole time. And I don't want to divulge too many secrets away, but we're definitely going to acknowledge that fact, and we're going to, you know, continue to make music, hopefully for another 10 years.
Sounds pretty good. And I hope you have a good little party when the time does come.
We will. You know, it's everything in good time. You know, I mean, there has to be, for me, there has to be a definite celebration point, but at the same point in time, we're really just focused on what we're doing right now, which is, you know, finishing our album cycle with Am I the Enemy and working on a new acoustic compilation that we've been doing as well. So we're almost finished with that. So that's where my priorities are, but we'll definitely take time to stop and smell the roses, as they say.
Alrighty. What advice would you give to fellow bands that are in your shoes and just starting out, or maybe even currently in your same shoes, just trying to, you know, make it out there and stuff?
You know, there's just, things are so different now. Like, I actually get asked that question a lot, and I try to be as honest as I can, but I think that most of the people nowadays are smarter than I am anyway, so I would just say trust your own instincts and hire a lawyer. That's probably the only mistake that most people make.
Why would you say that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I asked you, why would you say that? Why would you have them want to hire a lawyer for?
Because really the only thing that most kids don't know anything about, including myself when I was at that time, are contracts. Yeah. And, you know, kids are smart when it comes to social media networks, you know, Twitters, Facebooks, MySpace, Tumblrs, Instagram, all that stuff. Like, you know, I don't need to rattle on and on about that like everybody else does, because everybody already knows about those things. Kids are smart about figuring out how to be in a band, how to record songs, how to do all those things. The one thing that we didn't know anything about, and that most kids don't know anything about, is contracts. So hire a lawyer, because the one thing you don't know about is probably one of the most important things that's going to affect your career.
What else can we expect to see from you guys as far as 2012 goes?
Well, we just released a brand new video that came out on the 1st. It's not even 2 weeks old, and we've already got 10,000 views, which we think is pretty awesome. So, you know, that's really our current, piece of art that we're trying to push and let people know about and raise awareness about. And you can see that on youtube.com/Red Jumpsuit. It's really easy to find. You can't miss it. And other than that, we're going to finish up this next tour, take a little bit of time off, and then we have a pretty big tour announcement later in the year. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but another one of my favorite bands from back in the day. It looks like we might be touring with them, a punk rock band from the early 2000s. It's just an awesome band. I think we're going to be doing a tour together in November, December, so that's going to be really fun too.
All right, and is there anything else you'd like to say or you want to promote?
Not really. Just, I was just like to take a second to say thanks to anybody that's actually bought our music instead of stealing it. That does mean a lot to us, especially being an independent band. And, so thanks for that. And as always, appreciate the love.